and Vicki Draper, and we're here for healing with pets and people, or healing for pets and people, both. And we're here to get you some great information. It's summer. People are traveling and going on vacation, and we thought we would give you some tips to make that experience more fun and less stressful. So, Vicki, when people travel with animals, is it stressful for the animals?
Yeah. It's very
What
stressful.
comes up for them? What comes up for animals? I mean, I know that I was traveling and I had a dog losing her mind in a little carrier in the line when we're doing luggage and everything. And I was raking her through the little sides of the crate, and she would calm down. And then as soon as I stopped raking, she'd start crying again. And it's got to be stressful for them, right? What happens for them?
Yes, it's very stressful because they don't know what's going on. And then they're in, typically the guardian's stressful getting, going on the trip
Yep.
and everything around everybody else, like if they're in an airport or, whatever is, so there's
All the
all
sounds, the smells. It's probably overwhelming for them, I'm
yeah, so
guessing,
there's all this activity and they're just like, what is going on?
right?
And so I have some tips we will share with that. The first one is for the guardian to calm. So take 3 deep breaths and pause like before leaving, as they're putting if the dog or cat is traveling with them, before they even get in the car, and then just hold calm vibes.
Exactly.
And especially because they have to take them out of the carrier to put them through not the animal did the x-ray, but the carriers do the x-ray.
Yes.
And so that's a point, again, because they're like, everybody's, scrambling, trying to get through the x-ray, to pause, take a breath, and then, with your animal on your chest so they can feel calm while the crate's going through the x-ray, and while they're going through their
Right. And a lot of times people forget, and then they get yelled at, and then they get stressed, and then their animal picks up on it. So, by the way, I should jump in. Why is Vicki qualified to talk about this? Because Vicki's been doing animal healing for how long, Vicki?
Oh my gosh, professionally since 2000. So it's
Right. So, long time. And your website is?
healingyouranimal.com.
And I'm qualified to do this because I've been doing energy medicine for 34 years and working professionally for decades. And my website's arielhubbard.com. So we're going to talk about things to keep your energy balanced, clear, and in a good space while you're traveling. Right. So,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Some of those animals, that crate is like their safety area. So then if they're taken out of it and then put back in it, and then they're separated from their guardian, right? Because they're put in the hold of a plane, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
That's a whole nother stress. And
Right.
so there are times
Right.
that the animal can travel with them, under the seat. And
Sometimes,
even
but they
then
have
they
to pay
still,
like $200 for that or more.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
some,
yeah,
if it's a bigger animal, they don't fit, so they have to go in the hold.
in the hold, right? So, Vicki, can you do something professionally to help the people like prep for this trip ahead of time? Can you
Oh,
do something?
absolutely. I do a lot of support with people traveling with their pets and helping the pets understand and helping them
So
have a
you
calmer.
communicate with the animal ahead of time
Yes.
before they even get in the car to go on the trip.
Yes.
So you
So
do
they
like a
know
long
what's
distance.
happening. It's not like
Right.
all this, what is it? I don't know what's happening. I don't know where the end is, so they can get the full travel picture. And
Uh-huh.
I even helped a animal pack of 2 dogs and 2 cats with their people move from Seattle to Peru.
Wow.
And that
Okay.
was a big move. And so there's
Yeah.
multiple stages in their move. And so we did a session before each stage, and the animals did wonderfully.
That's great. Wow. Right on. So Vicki, you can work in person, but obviously you work online too, because you were helping them on their way down to Peru. So,
Yes.
and the animals were okay. So let's talk about for people. Okay. Procrastinators. I'm just going to lovingly coach you. Don't do that. Okay. Procrastination is a great form of self-sabotage. And for travel, it makes everything worse. And I remember going on these trips with my family where every trip would start off with this raging argument because the people involved, some of them had packed, some of them hadn't, some of them were organized, some of them weren't. And the person who wasn't organized would inevitably like be running along and the other person's angry and upset because they're running behind, right? It would happen like that. So here's the thing. It's really important that you pack ahead of time. You plan ahead of time. So just saying, because everyone's coming back from COVID, if you're making trip plans for Christmas, you should be making those trip plans in July or August. And you should be booking that stuff now because there's nothing more stressful than trying to book a flight last minute and being afraid that you can't get your tickets, right? So there's the planning part of the trip. And you want to make sure that you have your plan laid out and you know exactly where you're going and you have the information for all your hotels or your connections or the train schedule or whatever somewhere where you can access it easily. And I would recommend not just having it on your phone, but in the cloud. So for some reason you lose your phone or your phone dies, you could get on a computer and still look it up. So then you know what your plan is, right? Then you pack at least a week in advance. And the reason why is because one of the stressors is you're going to forget something. So if you pack a week in advance, that gives your brain time to think about, oh, I forgot this and I forgot that. Now you're relaxed because now you already have your stuff there and it's just these few little things and you can put those in your suitcase. And, if you are going on a long trip, like to say Europe or something, you're going to need to plan your wardrobe carefully. So you need to do that in advance so that you're not carrying a 50-pound suitcase all over cobblestones somewhere, because that is really hard to deal with. And I've had people tell me, my massage clients have come after and said, I need a massage because I was lugging around 50 pounds when they maybe some people didn't have to do that if they had more time to plan. So planning in advance, and then the execution is like you're calm because you've done everything ahead of time. So then when you work with your animals, you take your animals or you leave them behind with somebody, you're calm. They pick, as Vicky's told us many times, they pick up on your energy. So if you're calm, they're going to be calm. Right. So this is huge. I definitely recommend this. I recommend that you keep your own toiletry set pre-made. You're not taking stuff from your regular toiletries and stuffing in at the last minute. You have everything set up and you just plop that whole little kit. I also recommend travel cubes. Now, these are practical suggestions, but they make your energy more balanced when you're traveling. They just do. It's amazing. When I stopped procrastinating and started planning ahead, my whole experience changed. And everybody I've talked to that does this, it's so much better for them. So that's definitely important. Vicki, do you have any stories about like what you do for people and their pets that they're leaving behind? Like they're going to leave, they're going to travel, but the pet's left behind someplace, like at a care center or something.
Yes. There again, it's important to tell your animal what's happening. And it's important to, if you want to share with them visual images, even before you get your suitcase out, so that when you get this, because sometimes the suitcase coming out is just a big trigger. Some animals just
right, they see it and they just go nuts, right?
Yeah. And so, share with them what's happening. So when you bring the suitcase out, it's a non-event because they already know what's coming out. And so it's important. So I work a lot with people before they go on vacations to communicate the trip to their pets.
Yes.
To help it be less stressful, and everybody, always when they get back going, oh, thank you. It made a big difference. And
that's wonderful.
And I had one client who traveled a lot and her dogs would go ballistic when she would get home.
So they were mad at her? Were they mad?
Well, they were just anxious, and it's, it was just excited to see her, and just processing all the stuff of her being gone.
Yes.
And when we started, the first time we then did the communication before the travel, she came in and her dogs were just calmly greeting her, and it was like it was no big deal that she was gone. And
Wow.
not that it was just meant they were very calm and settled while she was gone.
What a difference.
It was a big difference.
Wow.
It was a big difference. And so then she's like, we're doing this, like every time. And
Oh yeah. It sounds like it's really important.
yes. Because our
Um,
animals, yeah, they know more and then than we think they do, and they need to know more than we share with them.
it's like, imagine you have somebody in your family and you don't tell them you're going out of town. How
Yeah,
upset would they be? And then how mad would they be when you come back? And what are they going to do to your house while you're gone?
exactly. That's
Express their
where,
feelings about how they feel.
yeah.
So I have a friend, I've had friends who like, they travel and like they come back and like all their shoes are eaten or their sofas are clawed or their carpets like clawed at, because somebody's upset
And
because they
or
weren't
they can have
told.
a big mess of diarrhea,
Yes, all that,
all over the
all that
place. Yeah.
wonderful stuff, right? And to me, I'm guessing, am I right that these are all communications from the pet? Hey, I'm mad at you,
Oh
or I'm
yeah,
upset.
the stress reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. And a stress reaction because they're like, well, where's my caregiver? This person feeds me, they love me, they take care of me, and now they're gone. What happened to them? Are they okay? And I don't think a lot of us think about that. We don't think that animals would feel that way or think that way, but they do.
They
So yeah, they do. Yeah,
And it doesn't matter how many times you travel before,
that's
you do
interesting.
this every time.
So it doesn't matter because they don't have the prefrontal cortex the way we do. So they don't have that type of memory from all the other times we've traveled.
Right. Because I have a, yes, because I have a
That's
personal
important.
story with that. It wasn't traveling, it was moving.
Okay. Okay.
And I had my cat Tasha, who was with me over 19 years, and we had done a few moves. And 19 years, there's a lot of change in my life, and going with me. So she had been through multiple moves. And so there was one move, I'm packing up all the boxes, and she was just not acting right. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And so at that point, I called the animal communicator and I'm like, what's going on? Because sometimes we're too close to our own animals to do
Uh-huh.
it.
Yep.
And so, and she's like, well, you didn't tell her she's going with you. I'm like, well, of
Oh,
course she's going with me.
geez.
Of course,
Oh,
she always has. But it was like,
right?
she didn't know. And so as soon as I told her
Wow.
what was going on, she was back to herself, no big deal. Even because, like I said, we had been through multiple moves. So it
But you
wasn't a
just
new
didn't tell her.
experience, but I did not tell her that we were going together. And
Oh man.
because I took it for granted.
Well,
And we can't.
we humans do that sometimes.
Well, exactly. And that's what it really showed me. We can't take it for granted. We really have to be conscious and intentional with them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about self-care for a minute, especially before and after move or before and after traveling. If you are not getting massage before and after a move or before and after traveling, I really recommend that you rethink that strategy because physically being stuffed into a small container, like unless you're flying first class, even comfort seats are uncomfortable. So when you're stuffed into a container, then you can't move. Then you have a tendency, there's a possibility of getting deep vein thrombosi, which are blood clots, or at the very least, lymphatic accumulation. I mean, our digestive systems blow up full of gas. Like we hold and retain fluids. So we blow up and then we're stuffed into this tiny little spot. So we're puffy and we're stuffed in this spot and then we can't move for hours at a time. That's like incredibly uncomfortable. Then we go to places where the beds are bad, the pillows are bad. We're lugging along a suitcase. Again, even 5 or 10 pounds lighter will make a huge difference in how your body feels. And then we're going to like, we're walking or doing all these activities that we wouldn't normally do, right? And think about how your body's going to feel after that. So you want to, I think of it as a pre-event and post-event massage, like a sports thing. You do your pre-event massage for your flying or whatever travel you're doing, or your move, and your post-event. And the reason why is because you need to recover from all that craziness too. So I recommend, like, if you're, especially if it's a quick trip, that's one thing. Like if it's a 2-hour flight, you still should get a massage. But if you're doing like these long flights, like 5 hours or 14 hours, or some people 24 hours, you definitely need to really rethink getting some body work and probably some energy work, because you need to realign your heart line. You need to realign your meridians. You need to rebalance your meridians, because the flow, there's a circadian flow through the meridians that is according to a certain clock. And when you change time zones, it messes up that clock. It's not just your waking and sleeping patterns. There are energies that flow through the meridians at specific times of the day. And when you travel to different zones, that rhythm gets messed up. So you want to work with somebody who does acupressure, as trained in traditional Chinese medicine, Oriental medicine, to rebalance and recalibrate the flow of the energy through your meridians. So I recommend that you really think about that, and at least get a massage after, if not before. And with
Well,
moves, because they're so stressful, and you're lifting things you shouldn't be carrying probably, and you're moving stuff, furniture you probably shouldn't be moving, you probably need it for that as well.
well, and I find even just sleeping in a strange bed,
Yes.
it can, in strange different pillows, it can
Oh
mess with
yeah,
the neck and everything else. And so even just that fact, so not let alone all the
absolutely.
other factors you're talking about. So
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, most hotels have terrible pillows. I mean, let's be honest. Even nicer hotels, a lot of the pillows are not that great. And one of the leading causes of a crick in the neck that I hear from my clients is I slept on my pillow wrong. Well, if you don't have a good pillow to begin with, you're going to have that as an issue. So, some things you can do, you can stretch. You could try regular stretching. You could also try something like K tape or rock tape. And if you go on YouTube and you say like K tape for lower back, it'll tell you how to tape yourself to give you a little bit more support while you're doing all of these activities. I also want to remind you that when you go through an airport, it could be like a 2 or 3 mile walk. And if it's Atlanta, way more than that. At Denver, Atlanta, Phoenix, huge airports. Even Washington, D.C. is a big airport. New York's airports are big. So you could be, and if you have to change airlines, or you have to go from one terminal to the next, you could be traveling multiple miles while lugging, if you're doing a carry-on, a huge suitcase. I know a lot of people like to do carry-on, and I get that. But if you're doing a big trip, I would really recommend you consider checking it, because the amount of time and energy and possible stress on your joints and your shoulders and your wrists and your hands, and possible injuries that you could experience trying to lug a piece of luggage through, that you could just check and not have to do that to yourself. Why do that to yourself? So I know some people, well, I want to have carry on in case they lose my luggage, but you could have light carry on and most of your stuff, so you don't have to lug that around. So these are just some tips for your body, to manage your body and keep your well-being, because again, any stress on you is going to affect your animal, right? As Vicky's taught us many times. So I just want to give these tips and just remind people about this stuff. Also, if you're doing a car ride instead of an airplane ride, get out and stretch when you're stopping, and make sure you stop. Don't let somebody on your road trip not allow pee breaks. I'm sorry, but there are people that don't allow that. That is not healthy for your kidneys. Make sure you stop, take your bio breaks, and walk around or stretch. So go to a rest area where you could actually do some stretching or walk around a little bit. It's for your lymphatic system, your circulatory system, especially the lymph. You don't want it all pooling in your legs. You want to try to get that moving again. And lymph is moved through exercise or physical manipulation or compression stockings. If you have lymphatic issues, wear your compression stockings when you're traveling, because you're going to need them. So these are just some tips I wanted to give you about for people. Anything else that I haven't talked about, or did I miss anything?
well, so it's people with traveling with dogs, they're generally doing, potty breaks, so they are getting a little.
Yes.
And if you're not, start because it's healthy for you and your dog. And also the tip there is to make sure they're in the shade. So if you have to put a towel over their crate or something, we want to keep our animals cool in the car while traveling.
Absolutely.
And
Also,
go ahead. I was going to say, also have water handy. Go ahead.
water, coolness, and some airport apps will tell you where the dog walking places are in the actual airport. So like sometimes you can look up an app and look on a map and see where to walk the dog. So because if you're not doing car but doing air, there's like one place in the whole airport where you can do that.
You have to walk to get there.
And you have to walk to get there. So you need to allow time for that. So you need to look it up on the map so you know where to go to take your dog. Yeah, you're right. Water, right? Coolness and food. Hello,
Yeah.
especially if it's a long trip, right? Or your
Well,
animal's picky, right?
yes. And then the other thing is, well, like with cats, you want to have a litter box in the car so they can go and if they need. And generally what I've found with mine when I've traveled in the car is it's only when I stop, if I'm going into a rest stop or something, then the cat will feel comfortable. Then I give them rain. That's when they feel comfortable to go potty. And it's like good because because kind of like the movement, different animals are different, but we want them to have access for that.
Do they have motion sickness medicine for animals, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. My Iceland
They have it for
Spar
people, but
essence really helps animals.
which one?
Iceland Spar.
Oh, that's one of your essences.
It's one of my essences that really helps with car sickness for cats. But yes, they do have medicine if you want to get medicine from your vet.
That's good to know. Okay.
Because they do have that.
Okay, that's good to know because we want to make them feel comfortable, and us too. There is motion sickness stuff that's homeopathic for people, or you can get meds as well.
Oh, the other safety factor I would love to share is like for me when I'm traveling with my cats, I have them the seatbelt strapped in through their crates so that if there is an incident, they're not thrown everywhere.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Because I'm working with it was actually a kitten that was in a car wreck. It was in a crate, but the crate wasn't stabilized and it just went flying. And here's this young kitty with a lot of back stuff and we're getting it worked out. But it was, that was very traumatic.
Yes.
And we want to keep our pets safe in the car. And they have different mechanisms for dogs and cats. Cats, I found like it's easy with the crate, just slip the seatbelt through the handles.
Great idea. That's fantastic. So we've given a lot of fun tips for you guys. We hope that these are helpful. And if you'd like to work with us, Vicki, how can people reach you?
HealingYourAnimal.com. And so on there's a way you can click to sign up for an assessment. I give a complimentary assessment. And so HealingYourAnimal.com. It has all the classes I teach. It has
your videos.
Everything you want to find.
Yep. So,
HealingYourAnimal.com.
Right. So it has all the episodes of our prior pods up under media. It has her sprays. She has a lot of really cool sprays for different issues for animals and you too, the people too. She has her wonderful books, right? And then you could have a conversation with her about if you're going to work with her or not. You could go to my website, arielhubbard.com. You can see my blog. You can watch my videos on energy work. You can read about all the stuff I do. And then you can contact me through there to book an appointment also. So these are ways you guys can reach us. So like if these tips were helpful, but you need more, definitely reach out. We'd love to help you out. We'd love to make a difference for you. It'd be awesome.
Yes, we love helping.
And then we're here the first Thursday of every month, right around 10 o'clock, unless we're having technical issues. And then it's 10:04. But usually right around 10 o'clock. So we love to have you come back and watch us again. And yeah, happy travels, everybody. Have a great summer.
That's
Enjoy
right.
yourselves. And enjoy. Anything else you want to share, Vicki?
I
before-
do. There's a burning tip I want to share.
Okay.
So, because when you're a pet lover, you've got pictures of your pets and your animals on your phone. So what I invite you to do is look at those and connect with your pet at least once a day while you're gone, because your pet will feel that.
Oh, that's nice. Like a psychic connection.
Yeah, send love to them so
Yeah.
they know it's like you're not really gone. I mean, they can still feel you connecting with them.
Yes, they'll feel your presence.
They love that.
That's awesome. I love it. What a great suggestion. Fantastic. Okay, everybody, we're going to head out. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and we hope that you join us next month. Thank you so much.
Right. See ya
Take
next
care.
month.